Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Stokes Sounds Off. I'm your host, James Stokes. With today being August 12th, it's time to pay tribute to the third and last apostle who has his birthday this month. President Dallin Oaks is celebrating his 93rd birthday today. Let's take a look at key highlights from his life. Dallin Harris Oaks was born on this day in 1932 to Dr. Lloyd E. and Stella Harris Oaks in Provo, Utah. Included in his mother's ancestry is Martin Harris, who, as we know, was one of the three witnesses of the Book of Mormon. President Oaks's first name was given in honor of the last name of an artist with whom his mother had worked as a model for a statue in Springville, Utah. His father was an ophthalmologist, and he died when young Dallin was age 7 from complications of tuberculosis. Being the oldest child of his family, the death of his father gave young Dallin some unique opportunities to help his mother and to be an example to his younger siblings, which was one thing of which he has frequently spoken. After his father died, his mother was able to earn a graduate degree at Columbia University and support her family by working to provide adult education opportunities for those who needed it. She also went on to be the first woman elected to Provo's City Council, and she served for a time as the assistant mayor of that city. In the meantime, young Dallin attended Brigham Young High School, where he played football and became a certified radio engineer. Once he started attending BYU, he took many opportunities to be the radio announcer at high school games. At one of those games, he was introduced to June Dixon, whom he would later date and subsequently marry. He was unable to serve as a full-time missionary because he was a member of the National Guard, and there was a possibility he could have been called up to serve during the Korean War. Dallin and June were married in 1952, and he graduated from BYU 2 years later with a degree in accounting. He went on to study law at the University of Chicago, graduating with his degree 3 years later. He spent the early part of his professional career clerking for Chief Justice Earl Warren of the U.S. Supreme Court, during which time the Chief Justice presided over the Watergate hearings. After that clerkship was over, he went on to practice law at Kirkland and Ellis. He left that job in 1961 to become a professor at Chicago Law. While in that capacity, he served as interim dean. During that same period of time, the University of Chicago was desperate to get Dr. Russell M. Nelson, a renowned heart surgeon, on his staff, and Professor Oaks was asked to represent the university in trying to convince Dr. Nelson to accept the offer. Although those efforts proved unsuccessful, that encounter resulted in lifelong friendships for the Nelsons and the Oaks. Dallin also served on the foundational board of a Mormon Thought periodical and was the chairman of the university's disciplinary committee. He took a leave of absence from the university while serving as legal counsel to the Bill of Rights Committee of the Illinois Constitutional Convention. He left the law school for good in 1971 when he was appointed the new president of BYU Provo, for which many candidates, including Brother Nelson, were considered. He held that position for 9 years. Brother Oaks then went on to serve for 5 years as chairman of the board of directors for PBS and 8 years as chairman of the board of directors of the Polynesian Cultural Center. In 1980, he was appointed a justice of the Utah Supreme Court, an office he held for the next 4 years. He was rumored to have been considered by two U.S. presidents, Gerald Ford and later Ronald Reagan, for a nomination to the U.S. Supreme Court. He had made plans with his wife, June, to serve a mission after he had served on the Utah Supreme Court for a decade, but the Lord had a different mission in mind for the couple. A surprise change in direction for him came in 1984. He was at a law conference fulfilling several judicial obligations when President Gordon B. Hinckley, then a counselor to the ailing church president Spencer W. Kimball, tracked him down by a phone call. The purpose of the call was to notify him that he'd been selected to become an apostle and member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. At the time, there were 2 vacancies in the quorum due to the deaths of Elders LeGrand Richards on January 11th, 1983, and Mark E. Peterson exactly 1 year to the day later. Due to the ill health of President Spencer W. Kimball, neither vacancy had been filled prior to the April 1984 General Conference. Elder Oaks became the junior apostle to Elder Russell M. Nelson, though the two were sustained in the same General Conference. Although both were called at the same time, Elder Oaks was unable to be present at the General Conference at which the two were sustained. President Hinckley, in leading that sustaining, offered the following explanation, quote, "With reference to Dallin Oaks, I should like to say that while we nominate and sustain him today, he will not be ordained to the apostleship, nor will he be set apart as a member of the Council of the 12, nor will he begin his apostolic service until after he completes his present judicial commitments, which may require several weeks. He is absent from the city and necessarily absent from the conference. We excuse him." Close quote. Elder Oaks was ordained an apostle just short of 4 weeks after being sustained, having been sustained on April 7th, being subsequently ordained to the apostleship on May 3rd. He had his first opportunity to respond to his apostolic call 6 months later during the October 1984 General Conference. He spoke on the importance of witnesses within the context of his new assignment to be a special witness of Jesus Christ. He has now been an apostle for over 41 years, during which time he has filled a wide variety of assignments and has had many opportunities to meet with and speak to church members in various parts of the world. In addition to losing his father early on in his life, Elder Oaks also experienced the death of his wife, June, who passed away in 1998. Just over 2 years later, Elder Oaks married Kristen M. McMain, who has been by his side ever since. In 2002, he and Elder Jeffrey R. Holland were asked to be the first apostles in around 100 years to live on location in 2 of the church's geographical areas, with then Elder Oaks being based in the Philippines and then Elder Holland being assigned to preside in Chile. With the death of President Thomas S. Monson in January 2018, Elder Oaks became the second most senior apostle in the church. President Nelson, in becoming the new church president, felt impressed to call his apostolic seatmate, Elder Oaks, to serve as first counselor in the first presidency. He was set apart both in that capacity and as president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles on January 14, 2018. Regarding the selection of Elder Oaks as first counselor, President Nelson explained, quote, "It became very clear to me as I prayed about it that Dallin should be my first counselor because, upon my demise, he's the next president of the church. That's the kindest thing I could do for the church and for Dallin, to give him that kind of exposure." Close quote. President Oaks has given a total of 100 addresses in General Conference, the first of which was given during his service as BYU Provo President. Interestingly enough, that address from the early 1970s is somehow not listed in the church's repository webpage of his General Conference addresses. President Oaks gave 68 additional addresses in General Conference as a member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, and he has given the remaining 31 so far as a member of the First Presidency. He currently ranks as both the second most senior member and the second oldest member of the First Presidency, while he is the second in overall apostolic seniority and the second oldest apostle who is currently serving. I am honored to have been able to pay tribute to him as he observes the milestone of his 93rd birthday. I testify that his apostolic call, along with the calls of all other apostles, has indeed been divinely directed and inspired, as has how and when they have each moved up in the ranks thereof. Stay tuned here for my coverage of the latest updates from the Church News, the Newsroom, and the Church of Jesus Christ Temple sites. I'll be sure to pass word of those along to you all as soon as I can after I learn about them. In the meantime, that does it for this video. All comments are, as always, welcome and appreciated on any video or short at any time, as long as all such feedback is made per the established guidelines. I hope any of you who would like to share anything will take your opportunity to sound off in the comments below. If you liked what you watched here and would like to stay informed of newly added videos and shorts, please consider subscribing to this channel. Thank you for the privilege of your time. Until next time, I wish you all the best and pray that the Lord will bless you all in everything you do.